favorite son, isn't he?
He's the one with no hair.
James E. True Sr. is the, who remembers Mr. True, the curator of the museum? There's a beautiful exhibit in there. Burke took me in there and we looked at, remember when he'd take apart the captain's desk? They have it out with all the descriptions of, oh yeah, it's like memory lane. And there's a picture of it, it looks like he's, it's just as you'll remember him. And some of his family's here today. Maria, you're a granddaughter, right? Are you the only family member here?
No.
Who else is here?
My uncle, Fanny, my Aunt Francie, and his great
Francie? And who's this?
Savannah.
Gorgeous family. Look at Savannah. And you're an uncle?
No, I'm Dad's surviving son.
Well, come up here while I do this. This is James True, because he has super fans here. He'd be so proud. Come on up. Oh, come on.
I mean, when you're number 4,
Yeah.
you gotta look. You gotta look at.
Okay, it's about your dad now.
All
He was
right.
raised in Salem, Virginia, and he loved painting and art. And that's what brought him here to Big Stone Gap under the WPA program during the Great Depression. And for all of you, that's the Work Progress Administration, and that was one of the biggest, listen, roads, bridges, tunnels, buildings, schools, hospitals, and the arts. The arts, the arts. Ultimately, Mr. True would go on to make a career as a public servant who for 28 years, from 1948 to 1974, worked right here at the Southwest Virginia Museum. He was a beloved person. He turned this museum really into the jewel of the American South, right here. And the entire time he was painting. He had a love of the land, the mountains, the people, and he painted them. And he painted cross-culturally. A lot of his work was indigenous people, African American people, and the places, the churches that we know. Still today, it's almost 50 years after his passing, we have visitors that come to the museum and ask for him. That's his reach and impact. And he really, truly, when we think of the Southwest Virginia Museum, we think of him. And so we're very honored to have him on the Walk of Fame forever. Come on up.
First, what an honor it is to be introduced by her. New York Times bestseller, Big Stone Gap. Her books are so wonderful, and I just love the movie too. But when I was growing up, my father, mother and father, my grandparents lived in this house. And it's been restored back to the original carriage house, but it was a home, and we're sitting in my grandmother's flower rose garden. And it was such a magical time for me that I wanted to put my grandfather in this nomination because he was just pure magic to me. When he was the curator of this museum, it was much more eclectic and it was almost kind of messy. But I mean, you know, you'd walk by and there's something from 5,000 years ago, you know, just leave it there by the window. And it was so magical for him to have his art room in there and to show us wonderful things. And he always took each person in like he knew them. And he was very soft-spoken and so kind. He also painted backdrops for the Trail of the Lonesome Pine. And was an artist in residency, but it was just a very magical time. And when he met George C. Scott, came by and met him and spent some time with him. It was just fantastic. And I come over here a lot, and I have a couple of radio stations in Tennessee, and I promote this museum in Big Stone Gap all the time like I live there. I guess they think the station's in Big Stone Gap, but I just love this place and being from here originally. So thank you so much for this honor. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We played in this building, all of us.
Nancy Bell, Campbell, and we had a good time here. And then when Bascom Slimp passed away, then the state of Virginia eventually bought the building and the property. And we had to move out and went down to the scout cabin for about 3 years and lived in that, cold as it was. It was very cold. But anyway, we had a life here. Let me tell you one thing that occurred. They were rebuilding the museum, and one night it was Halloween, and we were living down at the scout cabin, and Daddy said, you know, Danny, I believe they left the door open on the roof because they were reworking those chimneys up there. He said, I want you to go up there and check it out. He said, but don't turn the lights on because it's Halloween and we don't want people coming into the museum. It's not open yet. So here I am, a 9-year-old kid coming up that hill, going in this door right here, and went all the way up, not to the top residence floor, but the burnout section right at the roof. It had been burned out. It's still in there. So there's a step that goes all the way up to the roof, and the lid was open on that thing. And I tried to pull it over in place. I was 9 years old, and I couldn't quite get it in there, so I had to crawl out on top of the roof and scoot that thing over so that I could pull it down. And then I quickly ran down the steps, out the door, and down the hill. 9 years old. Talked about Daddy's art. He has art everywhere. I know of 2 paintings that he has in London, and people remember what is the market of the? Yeah, there was a market on the road going to Appalachia, right on the left as you almost make a turn. Joe Wolf's Market. Joe Wolf's Market. See, I haven't lost it all yet. Thank you, sir. But anyway, he sold, I know, 4 copies of that. That shed was falling in, but people liked that so well that he made 4 copies. Now, Daddy didn't reproduce copies photographically. What he did, he bought one of those new cameras called Polaroid. so he took a picture of every painting that he made for his library, and when people wanted one, he would get that picture out, and he would sit there and paint it. Wow. And I know he did 4 of them, but anyway, he loved his art, and he loved this area. That's why he spent so many years here. He worked. Actually, he was employed by Bascom Slimp, and there was a garage over that way. Notice I'm still a little big stone in me. That way. But anyway, Slimp had collected a lot of stuff, and they put it on display over there. And then that's when he decided that he's eventually going to put it over here. Well, he died before that happened, but the state did it for us. The state finished Dad's work here and remodeling and all that stuff. So anyway, we appreciate our time here today, my sister, and something smells awfully good back there.
We just got here.
Thank you for stopping in.
He don't know how to do it alone. And she don't.
That probably took a while to do that one, huh?
What kind of craft they got?